From the Valiant Theater in Winnipeg's greasy tenderloin, Camel Cigarettes present X-1!
One.
Yes, X-1 with Luke Falconer, Jimmy Pants, Chris Gatey, and yours truly, Kelly Hughes, brought to you by Camel Cigarettes.
How mild can a cigarette be?
Thank you, little girl. Camels are so mild that a nationwide test of hundreds of men and women who smoked Camels, and only Camels, revealed not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels. That's right. And now, in just a moment, X-1. But first, no one can deny that spring is in the air, and to prepare for the new season, NBC's Weekday brings you some timely and useful features. One is a new series with gardening tips for both city and country dwellers. The second feature brings you hints for the best use of leisure time, and you can also bet that Joe Copeland, famous dress designer, will enlighten you on the spring fashion picture when she appears on tomorrow's show. Listen and hear it all on NBC's Weekday tomorrow morning. And now, stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. Countdown for blastoff. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1. Fire! From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight's story, A Gun for Dinosaur by L. Sprague de Camp.
Just a whiskey, please. No soda.
Ice, Mr. Rivers?
Good heavens, no. I've been in America for some time, but not that long.
To a fine dinosaur, eh?
Well, now, just a moment, Mr. Seligman. I won't take you hunting late Mesozoic dinosaur.
Why not?
How much do you weigh? About 9 stone?
130 pounds.
Yes, I thought so. It's not heavy enough.
But your advertisement, you said safaris arranged to any time period.
Well, I'll take you to any period in the Cenozoic. I'll get you a shot in the Elizodont, or even a mammoth or mastodon, and they have fine heads. But I'll jolly well not take you to the Jurassic or Cretaceous. You're just too small.
Well, what's my weight got to do with it?
Now, look here, old boy. What do you think you are going to shoot the dinosaurs with?
Well,
look over here in this case. That's my gun. A Continental 600. That shoots a pair of Nitro Express cartridges the size of bananas. It's designed for knocking down elephants, not just wounding them, but knocking them base over apex.
Well, now, I've handled guns.
Oh, look, I've been guiding hunting parties for over 20 years, but I've never known a man your size who could handle the 6-0. It knocks him over.
But people have killed elephant with lighter guns, even a 375.
Yes, but consider. An elephant weighs, let's say, from 4 to 6 tons. You're planning to shoot reptiles weighing 2 to 3 times as much as an elephant. No, I'll tell you, Mr. Seligman, I won't take anyone hunting dinosaurs who can't handle a 6-0. Look, let's pour another drink and I'll tell you why. You see, I went into partnership with the Raja about 5 years ago. I call him that because he's the hereditary monarch of Jaipur. It means nothing, of course. We both wanted to do a bit of hunting again, and Africa's all played out. It's too civilized now. So when we heard of Professor Pachanka's time machine at Washington University, we caught the next plane to St. Louis. The Foundation administering the machine had worked out an arrangement splitting the time between scientific parties and hunters who wanted to try their luck at prehistoric game. Hunters paid through the nose, of course, to support the projects. Well, it was about our fifth safari that Courtney James showed up. He's what you chaps call a playboy, a big bloke, handsome in a way, florid, beginning to turn to fat. He was on his fourth wife, and when he showed up at the office with a blonde, I assumed that was the fourth Mrs. James. He left her in the outer office and corrected my assumption.
Bunny? Oh no, she's not my wife. My wife is in Mexico, I think, getting a divorce. But Bunny here would like to go along.
I'm sorry, we don't take ladies, not to the late Mesozoic.
If she wants to go, she'll go. She skis and flies my airplane, so why shouldn't she?
There are enough risks 85 million BC without adding to them. I'm sorry, but it's against the firm's policy.
Now look here, I'm paying you a lot of money.
You can
I'm entitled...
hire me to do anything against my best judgment. Now, if that's how you feel, get another guide.
All right, but let me tell you...
Oh, it ended with my telling him to get out of the office or I'd throw him out. I was thinking sadly of all that lovely money that James would have paid me, when in came another sahib, an August Holtzinger, slim bald chap with glasses.
Mr. Rivers, I don't want you to think I'm here under false pretenses. I'm really not much of an outdoorsman, and I'll probably be scared to death when I see a real dinosaur.
Well, most of us are frightened at first, but it doesn't do to speak of it.
Yeah, well, you see, I've always run a grocery store till my uncle died, and, well, I've got a great deal of money now.
Uh-huh.
I'm building a new house, I'm engaged, getting married, and, well, I'm determined to hang a dinosaur head over my fireplace or die in the attempt. A ceratopsian, I think. That's the one with the big horned head and the frill over the neck, isn't it?
Well, you want to think twice about that, you know? If you put a 7-foot Triceratops head into a small living room, there's apt to be no room left for anything else.
I know it's ridiculous, but I'm determined to do something big for once. And since there's no more real big game hunting, I'm going to shoot a dinosaur and hang his head over my mantel. I'll never be happy otherwise.
The Raja and I decided to make it to the Middle Cretaceous. That's about, 85 million years ago. It's the best period for dinosaur in Missouri. So we drove Holtzinger into the country to let him try this 6-knot knot.
Ooh, it's rather heavy.
Look, you look out, there's quite a kick.
Couldn't you fire it prone?
Oh, not a gun that big. There's not enough give. You'd break your shoulder. All right, sir, take the safety off.
Like this. Oof. Oh, God.
Here, take my hand. I'll help you up.
Thank you. I think I'd better try something smaller.
Well, he took a fancy to my Manchester 70, chambered for a .375 Magnum cartridge. That's a little light for elephant, and very definitely light for dinosaur. But we were in a hurry. And then, of course, just before we were ready to trek, James showed up and apologized for insulting me. He'd had a run-in with the girl, and he wanted to go along. And so we were off on safari. You all ready, gentlemen?
Yes, I suppose so.
Now, Mr. Holtzinger, you've met my partner, the Raja of Jampur.
How do you do, sir? How do you do? Well, shall we get cracking? After you, Mr. Holtzinger. Mr. James? Thank you.
Let's get going.
All set.
Well, slam the hatch and off we go.
Now, what happens?
Nothing till the force field is built up. Aha! There she goes.
What happened to the lights?
Well, there's no current while we're in transition.
Well, I don't feel well.
Yes, there's usually a touch of vertigo. I shouldn't worry about it.
Look, what do you shoot for? I mean, with Dinosaur. What is the best shot?
Well, you don't try for his brain, you know? They don't have any. Well, to be exact, they have a little bump about the size of a tennis ball on top of their spines. And you're not likely to hit it when it's embedded in a 6-foot skull.
Try for the heart. They have big hearts, over 100 pounds. An exploding shell, and the heart will slow them down at least. Oh, I see.
Why do we have to go so far for game? Why couldn't we just go back 50 years and shoot lions in Africa?
Well, the machine won't work more recently than 100,000 years ago.
Why?
Well, Look, I'm no four-dimensional expert on the subject, but it has something to do with what they call time paradox. You know, if people could go back to recent times, they might do something to affect history. Or kill their own grandfather, you know? And there's also some kind of taboo about sending people back to the same time again. It's paradoxes, mustn't have them.
What would happen?
Well, I'm not sure, but the university is not taking chances. They've got about 1 billion years to cover. They won't run out of eras. Hello, here we go. Now, cheers, eh? Well, that's done it. April 24th, 85 million years BC. Now, then, careful. Keep the safety on your gun and don't shoot unless I give the word.
Why? Why should we have to wait for you?
Because I'm responsible for everything you do, especially if something goes wrong. I say, Raja, open the door, will you? In this period, the time chamber materializes on top of a rocky rise. At the west, you see the arm of Kansas Sea that reaches across Missouri, and the big swamp where the sauropods live. To the east, the land slopes up to a plateau. It's good for ceratopsians. The finest thing about the Cretaceous is the climate. It's balmy, like the South Sea Islands, and not so muggy as the Jurassic. Oh, we set the time chamber back off and looked about. It was spring, with the dwarf magnolias in bloom all over. Down toward the Kansas Sea, cycads and willows grew, while the uplands were covered with screw pines and ginkgos. Yes, well, I'm no ruddy poet, but I can appreciate a beautiful scene. While I was looking through the haze and sniffing the air.
I got him! I got him!
What the devil?
Did you see it there?
Confounded, you idiots! I told you not to shoot without word from me. And what happened?
An ornithorn wandered out of the copse. Mr. James gave him both barrels. Missed.
Now, look here, James. One of the biggest dangers on safari is a trigger-happy sahib who gets panicky. You're not to shoot unless you're told. Do you understand?
Who do you think you are to tell me when to shoot my own game?
Now, look here. Firstly, if you shoot off all your ammunition before the trip is over, your gun won't be available in case of a pinch. And secondly, if you empty both barrels, what would happen if a big theropod should charge before you could reload? Finally, it's not sporting to shoot everything in sight. Is that clear?
All right.
Well, now, then, first task is fresh meats. As I told you, Holtzinger wanted a ceratopsian head. James insisted on a tyrannosaur. Then everybody would think he'd shot the most dangerous game. The fact is, the tyrannosaur is overrated. But everybody's read about the tyrant lizard, and well, he does have the biggest head of the theropods. Oh, and he'll snap you up if he gets the chance. No fear. Well, we started off searching for meats. The Raja and I put the sahibs in front. We tell them it so that they will get the first shot, which is true. But another reason is that they've always tripping and falling with their guns cocked. And if we guide them in front, we get shots.
Shh, boneheads!
Where?
See, crouching over there, feeding on those cats, about the size of a man. They look intelligent. No, not likely. That bulge on the head is solid bone. Quickly now then, hold on there, James. You've had your shot for the day. Hold your fire till Holtzinger shoots.
Yeah, sure.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Holtzinger. Doesn't matter which one.
No. Here, try that one by the rock. There's a good clear shot.
Oh.
Well, take your safety off. Go ahead now.
Well? Oh, nuts, I've had enough of this.
James, don't!
I got him clean, right through the heart. First shot. How was that?
I thought you were going to give Holtzinger the first crack. It's his turn.
Well, I waited. Took so long, I thought he'd gotten buck fever.
Very well. But if this sort of thing happens once more, we'll leave you at camp the next time we go out. The next couple of days, we trucked around the neighborhood and then headed over to the sauropod swamp over to the west. We were staked out along the edge of the lake, watching a big beggar out in the swamp, waving his head about. And they're the big ones. They look something like the brontosaur.
Can't we shoot him?
I wouldn't.
Why not?
Well, there's no point to it, and it's not sporting. Look, if you kill one in the water, he sinks and cannot be recovered. And if you kill one on the land, well, the only trophy is that little head on top of that long neck. You can't bring the whole beast back because he weighs 30 tons or more.
Well, that museum in New York got one.
Yes, but they sent a party of 48 to the early Cretaceous with a 50 caliber machine gun. They spent 2 solid months hacking and sawing the carcass apart and hauling it to the time machine. I know the chap on the project, and he still has nightmares in which he smells decomposed dinosaur. And they also had kill a dozen big theropods who came in for the party. Then they had them lying around too. They lost 3 men.
Shh, Reggie, Duckbill.
Where? Where are they?
Up there, at the shoreline. Now, keep your voices down, you see? With the crest on the back of their heads.
Mr. Rivers, I've been thinking about what you said about those heads. If I could get one of those duckbills, I'd be satisfied. It'd look big enough over my mantle, wouldn't it?
I'm sure of it, old boy. Well, let's be off, Roger. You wait here with Mr. James. Shouldn't take us long. Holt and I crept along the shoreline, narrowing the range to the duckbills.
I think I can make the shot from here. I'll be ready in a minute. My shoe is loose. He's getting away. I won't get a shot.
I'm afraid Mr. James has fired both barrels again.
James, that's the second time you spoiled my shot. I ought to.
Don't be a fool. I couldn't let them wander into camp, stamping everything flat.
There was no danger of that. You can see that the water is deep offshore. It's just that our trigger-happy Mr. James can't see an animal without shooting.
And if it did get close, all you'd have to do is throw a stick of firewood at it. They're perfectly harmless.
Well, how was I to know?
I believe I mentioned it.
Well, what are we on this miserable trip for except to shoot things?
There are certain rules, you know.
You call yourselves hunters. I'm the only one who's hitting anything.
Now, just a moment, old man. You're behaving like a confounded skite with more money than brains. I should never have brought you along.
If that's how you feel, give me some food and I'll go back to the base by myself.
Now, don't be a bigger ass than you can help. That's quite impossible.
All right, I'll go alone. I wouldn't want to pollute your air with my presence.
That's an attractive thought, Reggie, but we can't let him go. He'd get lost or starve. All right, I'll go after him.
We stumbled along for several more days, James on his good behavior for a change. And on the 1st of May, we broke camp and headed north to the hills. It was hot and sticky. We were soon panting and sweating like horses when I picked up the smell of carrion and heard the thrumming of flies. We found a huge ceratopsian lying dead in a little hollow on the edge of the copse. He must have weighed 6 or 8 tons alive.
Why couldn't I have gotten him before he died? That would have made a darn fine head.
Look, on your toes, chap. The theropod that's been at this carcass is probably nearby.
How do you know? Sorry, everyone. Brief technical difficulty. Thank you for staying with us. If you're still here, we're going back to where we stopped.
We stumbled along for several more days. James on his good behavior for a change. And on the 1st of May, we broke camp and headed north to the hills. It was hot and sticky. We were soon panting and sweating like horses when I picked up the smell of carrion and heard the thrumming of flies. We found a huge ceratopsian lying dead in a little hollow on the edge of the copse. He must have weighed 6 or 8 tons alive.
Why couldn't I have gotten him before he died? That would have made a darn fine head.
Look, on your toes, chaps. The theropod that's been at this carcass is probably nearby.
How do you know?
You see how the hide's been ripped off and the bones are scattered? Theropods will hang around a carcass like this for weeks, gorging and then sleeping for their meals for days at a time.
What do we do?
Well, that's what we came after. Raja, you take Mr. James and through that way and we'll parallel you 40 feet distant. Now, keep your eyes open. You'll be hard to see in these woods unless you're right on top of him. We pushed through the edge of the copse, looking for a huge flesh-eater who'd been at the carcass. I could hear James and the Raja pushing ahead on my right. We were separated by a gully when I heard a noise ahead on our left.
What is it?
I don't know. Take the safety off your guns.
No. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's one of those boneheads.
Well, at any rate, they're not dangerous, but be careful. That theropod might still be around.
I got him! I got him clean!
Well, he's done it again. He shot the bonehead.
I got him!
Look out! Look out, Tyrannosaur!
The Tyrannosaur heaved his head out of the shrubbery just in front of us. The scientists can insist that Rex is bigger than Trionkeys, but I'll swear that this Tyrannosaur was bigger than any Rex ever hatched. It must have stood 20 feet high and been 50 feet long. I could see in his big bright eye and 6-inch teeth. He'd been sleeping off his last meal, and James fired off both barrels over his head at the bonehead and woke the Tyrannosaur up.
Get back! Get back, you fool!
Raja, can't get a shot. Confound it! There goes the beast in behind those ferns. Holtzinger! Holtzinger, come back! Your gun's too light for that beggar! James came bolting back in a panic and blundered into the Raja, sending both of them sprawling under the ferns.
Bastard!
The Tyrannosaur came after them to snap them up. Holtzinger began to blaze away. He got off 3 shots through the beast's body with that little gun. The Tyrannosaur whirled around to see what was stinging it. The jaws came open and the head swung round and down again. Holtzinger got off 1 more shot and tried to leap to one side. The Tyrannosaur continued its lunge and caught him in its jaws as he fell.
Reggie!
Stand clear.
Hot's the only chance!
It's no use. There he goes. Hey, try a long shot. I missed him clean. Poor Holtzinger.
Well, that's the end. He stopped screaming. Did you notice?
Oh, yes. Well, I expect we best track the beast. He might be dying. We should try to recover Holtzinger's remains.
Yes, there's nothing else to do.
No, nothing. Bad show all around. An hour later, we gave up and went back to the glade looking very dismal.
Where have you two been?
We were occupied. The late Mr. Holtzinger, remember?
You shouldn't have gone off and left me. Another one of those things might have come along. Isn't it bad enough to lose one hunter through your stupidity?
What?
Sure, you put us in front of you, so if anybody gets eaten, it's one of us. That's...
You stinking little swine! If you hadn't been a first-class idiot and blown those 2 barrels again, this never would have happened. Holtzinger died trying to save your worthless life, and I wish he'd failed.
Why, I oughta...
Now then, my lad, I'm glad you did that. It gives me a chance I've been waiting for. Now, get up and I'll be glad to finish you off.
You don't finish anybody off. All right, put your hands up, both of you.
Put that gun away. Don't be an idiot.
I won't let anybody do that to me.
You can't get away with murder.
Why not? Won't be much less of you after you've hit with a 600 explosive shell. Nobody could prove anything. They can't hold you for a murder 85 million years old. The statute of limitations, you know.
Nice work, Roger, old chap.
Yes, Cretaceous rock. Doesn't quite have the balance of a cricket ball, but it's a bit harder, what?
Well, suppose we tie this chap up and we take him back to camp. When the time transition chamber finally arrived, we fell over one another trying to get into it. We dumped James in a corner and threw the switches.
You two should have killed me back there.
Why? You don't have a particularly good head?
You wouldn't look at all well over a mantle.
You can laugh, but I'll get you someday.
Close quarters, isn't it?
Someday I'll find a way. I'll find a way and I'll get off scot-free, too.
My dear chap, if there is some way to do it, I'd have you charged with Holtzinger's murder. Look, you'd best left well enough alone.
No, I'll kill you. Both of you. Somehow.
A cigarette, Roger.
Thanks.
When we came out in the present, we handed him his empty gun, and off he went. We paid everybody off and found that we were broke. But, quite luckily, a steel manufacturer turned up who wanted a mastodon head for his den. Well, we were standing in the laboratory at the university waiting for the time chamber. The technician, he's a bookish chap, a theoretical temporal physicist, was watching his dials and scopes.
By the way, Mr. Rivers, you just missed him.
Missed who?
That last client of yours, Mr. James.
Well, that's good luck. What was he doing here?
Oh, he told me quite a tale. Said he'd lost his wallet back there, that it contained some very valuable papers. It must have been valuable. He paid the university fee of $5,000 for the use of the chamber. He's on his way back there now.
Back where?
Well, he told me to send him back a few minutes before you arrived the last time. Then he could see himself drop the wallet.
He's gonna stand there and watch himself come out. Yes, but doesn't that create what you chaps call a paradox? What happens when a man tries to occupy the same time twice?
Well, we don't know. It's never been tried before. We tried to warn him, but he insisted.
Yes, I know. He's a headstrong chap. Still, you wouldn't think he'd chance it just for the sake of a wallet. Was he armed?
Yes, he had a 375 Express.
375. That's odd. He knows it's too light for dinosaur.
Yes, but not too light for a man. I say, Raja, you don't think Mr. James is lurking behind a bush back there until we show up again and planning to pot us as we step out?
That's impossible. No, we already did step out of the chamber and nothing happened.
Yes, but that was before Mr. James was waiting with an express rifle cocked. Hey, Doctor?
You mean he's planning to murder the two of you?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I don't suppose there's anything you could do to stop the process now?
No, it's too late. The chamber's in transition now. Look, hadn't you better get out of here before he kills you?
Well, there's no point in running. If Mr. James' theory is right, we've both been dead for 85 million years. You might as well wait and see what happens.
Transition point coming up.
Well, it's been quite a world up to this point, eh, Roger?
Yes, quite.
Here it goes.
Reggie, are you all right?
I seem to be. Well, what happened?
The time chamber, it's back. We better get it open.
Good Lord, look at that.
Ooh, ghastly, isn't it? Where did it come from?
I'm not sure, but I rather think it came from the Middle Cretaceous era. It wasn't here a moment ago.
Ghastly mess. Looks as if every bone was pulverized and every blood vessel burst.
I dare say, but that's his gun, all right. It's James, there's no doubt about it. So that's the story, Mr. Seligman. Of course, I don't understand the mathematics, but the idea is rather easy to grasp. Nobody had shot us when we first emerged on the 24th of April, 85 million BC, so of course that couldn't be changed. The instant James started to do anything that would make a paradox, the space-time forces snapped him forward and ripped him to bits. Well, they know a good deal about that now, and there's a safety margin of 500 years between each trip. You can't have paradoxes, you know, it just isn't done. And you see, I'm a lot more careful now. I shouldn't have taken James when I knew what a spoiled, unstable sort he was. Or Holtzinger either, when I saw that he was too small to shoot a dinosaur gun. With a heavier gun, he'd probably have knocked the Tyrannosaurus down and saved his own life. So, Mr. Seligman, that's why I won't take you to that period to hunt. I'm sorry, but you're just too light. You're not big enough to handle a gun for dinosaurs.
You have just heard X-1 presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction magazine, which this month features the story of a man who develops a spaceship that travels so fast that its pilots vanish mysteriously into thin air. Read the Von Shelton story, Point of Departure, in Galaxy magazine on your newsstand now. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you A Gun for Dinosaur, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by L. Sprague de Camp, patent consultant and one of our leading authors of science fiction. It was adapted for radio by Ernest Kilroy. Featured in the cast were Luke Faulkner, Jimmy Pants, Chris Gady on Foley, your announcer, Kelly Hughes. X-1 was produced and directed by Scott Clark and Andrew Single. How mild can a cigarette be?
Yes, how mild can a cigarette be?
How mild? Let me tell you about a nationwide test. No clapping for this. Hundreds of men and women of all ages took part in it. Noted throat specialists conducted it. The men and women in the test smoked camels, and only camels, for 30 days, an average of 1 to 2 packs a day. Each week, their throats were examined by throat specialists. There were 2,470 examinations in all, and the doctors found not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking camels. That's how mild camels are. But camels are more than mild. Camels' rich tobacco are properly aged and expertly blended for rich, full flavor and cool mildness. Make your own camel mildness test. You'll enjoy it. Yes, and you'll prove for yourself just how mild camels are. Smoke camels and only camels for 30 days. If at any time during these 30 days you're not convinced that camels are the mildest cigarette you've ever smoked, return the package with the unused cigarettes to the makers of camels, and you will receive your full purchase price plus postage.
Oh, camels. Oh, camels.
Chris, we're on to the next one. You got a high-pitched electronic hum?
Oh, right.
Okay, we'll take it. Countdown for blast off. Am I getting echo in here? Are you going to give me echo or? Yeah, okay. I won't do it. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire! From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future. future. Adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Bad Medicine by Finn O'Donovan. But first, farmers know they can't stop storms, floods, or droughts from ruining a crop, but they can make sure things like that can't ruin them by investing in United States savings bonds. Not only farmers, but over 40 million Americans in all sorts of jobs own 40 billions of savings bonds. And why? Because savings bonds are the easy way to start saving and to keep saving. And the money you invest in savings bonds means protection now and ready cash when you need it in the future. Improving the farm, sending the youngsters to college, or planning your own retirement. These are the big things that you can be ready for with savings bonds. And besides offering you a safe investment, each Series E savings bond pays you back $4 at maturity for each 3 you invest. Yes, you earn extra dollars while you save, so start saving now for the big things in your life. Be ready with United States savings bonds. And now, on with our story. On May 2nd, 2103, Elwood Cassell walked rapidly down Broadway. It was a gentle, misty spring day, and the air held the smell of rain and blossoming trees. But Elwood Cassell didn't smell the rain in the trees. He just gripped the loaded gun he had in his pocket. He didn't want to use the weapon, but he was certain that he would. This was justifiable. You see, Elwood Caswell was a homicidal maniac.
Why shouldn't I kill him?
Hey, look out, will ya?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Only the other day, he said, "Oh, you're looking very well." Well, what business is of his how I look?
Hey there, Elwood! Elwood!
What? Oh.
Yeah, hey, it's me, Marty Klein. I work on the jet buses with you, remember?
Yeah, of course. Hello, Marty. Forgive me, my mind was on other things.
Yeah, I know how it is. A couple of weeks ago, I was walking around in a fog so thick you could cut it.
Yeah? Really?
Oh, sure. Preoccupied. You know, I had this idea in my mind.
You too?
Yeah?
The same person?
Huh?
Were you troubled by the same person?
Oh, my wife. Hey, are you okay?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Well, I had this idea, see? I was gonna get rid of my wife.
Kill her?
Kill her? I mean, send her to the country for a week.
Oh.
You sure you ain't sick?
No, I never felt better.
Well, anyway, I was gonna take a week off, quit the jet buses. Yeah, can you imagine? I've been a jet bus operator for 10 years now, and all of a sudden, I feel like I can't take it for another minute.
Yeah, I know how you feel.
I was gonna take a trip, all by myself.
A trip to where?
To the farthest place I could think. To Mars. I was just gonna pick up and take a vacation to Mars. Huh, silly, huh?
I don't know. What happened?
Well, I talked it over with Ethel.
Your wife?
Yeah, Ethel. She's a real sensible girl. You know what she did?
No, am I supposed to?
Ethel went right down to that home therapy appliance store and she says, "You got a home therapy that'll cure my husband of this idea he can't stay on the jet buses?"
I've heard those machines aren't perfected.
They got him licked now. So, okay, she describes the trouble and the next day they deliver this thing and boom, I plugged it in. See? And a voice talks to me. It starts asking me questions.
Yeah? What kind of questions?
Oh, all kinds. Things I won't even tell my own mother.
You told the machine?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's only a machine.
Yeah, I see your point.
Well, then the machine starts to tell me a few things. And before I knew it, inside a week, I'm cured. Now I can't wait to go back to driving the jet buses.
You don't say.
So that's why I say I know how it is to have one thing on your mind at all times like that.
This machine, how much did it cost you?
Oh, that's the beauty part of it. See, my wife, Ethel, boy, she's a smart girl. After a week, she sends it back, see? She says it don't work. So all we lose is a deposit.
Yeah, I see.
Well, I gotta get back to work now. Hey, ain't you working the jet buses today?
No, I'm off today.
Well, I'll see. See you, Elwood.
Yeah, see ya, Marty. What was the name of that place?
Where they sell the home therapy machine?
Yeah.
Home Therapy Appliances. It's right down Broadway, about 2 blocks from here. So long, Elwood.
Perspiring freely, Elwood Cassell continued down Broadway toward 43rd Street. His friend Magnuson would be finishing work soon, returning to his apartment less than a block from Caswell's. Elwood gripped the gun tighter. How pleasant it would be to saunter in, exchange a word with him, and then...
No, I won't do it. I don't really want to kill anybody. It isn't right. Think what'll happen. Like, the authorities will lock me up. My friends won't understand, and Mother would never approve. Still, if I see Magnuson, if I see his hateful, accusing face in front of me... Oh, this must be the store. Yeah. Home Therapy Appliances.
Good afternoon, sir. Can I show you some of our home therapy appliances?
I want therapy, quick.
Of course, sir. This way, please. Now then, this is our new alcoholic reliever, built by International Combustion Motors and advertised in leading magazines. A handsome piece of furniture, I think you will agree, and not at all out of place in any home. It also opens into a television set.
Now look, what I need...
Therapy, of course. I just wanted to point out this model need never cause embarrassment to you, your friends, or your loved ones. Notice, if you will, the recessed dial, which controls the desired degree of alcoholism.
No.
You see, heavy, moderate, social, light, and teetotal. A new feature unique in mechanotherapy.
I'm not alcoholic! The New York Jet Bus Authority does not hire alcoholics.
Oh, sorry. You seem the type. No offense.
Please!
You seem rather nervous. Perhaps the portable anxiety reducer?
No!
Well, sir, perhaps if you told me just what you feel is bothering you.
What have you got for homicidal mania?
I beg your pardon?
Homicide! The urge to kill someone.
Of course. Let's see now.
Pardon me, have you worked here very long?
A week. Oh, yes, here's the ticket. This black job with the chrome trim.
What is it?
This, sir, is a Rex Regenerator, built by Planetary Motors Corporation. Handsome, Goes with any decor, opens up into a well-stocked little bar. So your family, friends, loved ones need never know.
Will it cure a homicidal urge? A strong one.
Oh, absolutely. Don't confuse this with the little 10-amp Neurosis model. This is a hefty, heavy-duty 25-amp machine for really deep-rooted conditions.
Well, that's what I've got.
Well, this baby will jolt you out of it. Big, heavy-duty thrust bearings, oversized heat absorbers, completely insulated, sensitivity range.
I'll take it.
Yes, sir.
With me, right now.
Now?
Before it's too late, I'll pay cash.
Well, yes, sir. It'll be a few hours before the warehouse can find...
I'll take this one here.
Oh, well, that's a floor demonstrator.
Does it work?
All of our demonstrators work, sir.
Then I'll take it. I can't wait for a warehouse. I can't wait for anything. Have it put in a taxi for me.
Yes, sir.
Tell them to hurry. I want to kill my friend Magnuson, you know.
Who?
My friend Magnuson.
Of course. That'll be $400.59, sales tax included. After Elwood Cassell left the store, the clerk, whose name was Haskins, smiled to himself and lighted a cigarette. He had made his first sale. He inhaled.
Haskins.
Yes, Mr. Follinsby?
Smoking. I asked you to get rid of that filthy habit.
Immediately, Mr. Follinsby. I'll use one of the display model denicotinizers at once. By the way, I just made a rather good sale, sir.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir, one of our big Rex Regenerators.
Well, now, it isn't often Wait a minute. Where's the floor model?
Well, sir, the customer was in an awful hurry. He was going to kill his friend.
You gave him the floor model?
Yes, sir. Is there any reason why?
Good grief, Haskins. Didn't I inform you? We never sell the floor models.
But, sir.
Good heavens, I've got to go get him. What was his address?
Address?
His name, then.
Why, he didn't say.
Then his check?
He paid cash.
You mean you just let him pick up the machine and walk out?
Well, sir, he paid cash.
He was homicidal, you say?
Yes, sir, his friend.
I don't care about his friend. Get the police. No. Call the Planetary Motors Security Division, quick.
Yes, sir, at once.
Well?
Excuse me, Mr. Fonsby, what will I tell them?
Tell them, you fool. Tell them that one of our customers has accidentally got that display regenerator they sent us. The one they shipped by accident. They're gonna replace it tomorrow.
Yes, sir, the one they shipped by accident. Will they know what that...
If they don't, be more explicit. Tell them we've sold the Martian model. The one for treating psychotic Martians.
Meanwhile, Elwood Cassell had returned to his apartment and lugged the big black Rex regenerator into his living room. He put it down near the couch and studied it carefully.
He was right, it does go with the room. Now then, let's see those instructions. Place regenerator near a comfortable couch. All right. Now, plug in machine. There. Affix contact band to your forehead. That's all there is to it. Just turn on the machine and it will do the rest. There will be no language problems since your regenerator communicates with you by direct sensory contact. Patent pending. Well, seems easy enough. Now I'll just put the contact on my head. And... blast it! Hello?
Elwood!
Yes?
This is Henry. Henry Magazine. How are you, old boy?
I'm fine.
I wonder if you're doing anything tonight. Thought you might like to drop over for a game of chess.
Game of chess, huh? You stupid oaf.
What?
Nothing.
I thought you called me a stupid oaf.
Yeah, I was just talking to my cat.
Oh, I didn't remember you had a cat. I thought you hated cats.
I do. This isn't really mine. It's a neighbor's. It keeps coming in.
Oh, what about tonight?
Will you be alone?
Well, yeah.
You haven't mentioned to anyone that you're inviting me over.
Not a soul. Why?
Someone's looking for me. A process server.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been avoiding them for days. I don't even leave word where I'll be when I go out.
You can trust me, Elwood. I'm your best friend.
Yes, you are, but not for long.
Huh?
Just talking to the cat again.
Oh. Will you be over?
Yeah.
In about an hour, okay?
Yeah, an hour will be fine. There are a few things I have to do first.
I've just got some new laugh records from the boys at the office. I got something here that'll really kill you. Okay, so long, Elwood.
So long. I got something here that'll kill you, too.
X-1 will continue in 1 minute. Each of us has a personal reason for wanting to see cancer conquered. Steve Allen would like to tell you his.
I have a wife and 3 wonderful kids. And when I think about cancer going to strike 1 in every 4 Americans, well, that's more than enough reason for wanting to see it conquered. I know that some people don't even want to think about cancer, but pretending it's not a threat, doing an ostrich routine, isn't going to get us anywhere. We've got to stand up to it and fight. And we can fight, each and every one of us. Through the American Cancer Society, we can be part of the battle that someday will beat cancer once and for all. That day will come. But you and I have got to help. How about it?
Thank you, Steve Allen. Remember, fight cancer with a cold digit up your rectum once a year. It's your best cancer insurance. And to help conquer cancer, send a check to your unit of the American Cancer Society. Now, on with our story. Taking the revolver Taking the revolver from his pocket, Elwood laid it on the table in front of him. His face became suffused with hatred at the thought of Magnuson. He poked at the gun with a stiff forefinger.
Magnuson, you no good, shifty-eyed enemy of all that's decent in the world. The man who ruined my sister Irene. The man who... Wait a minute. Elwood, you have no sister, remember? No sister. Now, before you go off and commit murder, why not just try that machine? Just once, huh? Just turn it on. Okay, now, reach over and...
Good afternoon, Elwood. I am your mechanical therapist. You may call me Gloop.
Gloop?
You seem surprised. It is a perfectly common name here on this planet.
Gloop? Of course, I've heard it many times, yes.
Now then, I am scanning the material in your preconscious with the intent of synthesis, diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment.
Yeah?
I find, this is a most unusual case.
Really? I thought it was simple homicidal mania.
There is, of course, no such thing. You are obviously hallucinating a set of symptoms, nonsense syllables to enable you to avoid the real problem.
Oh?
A most unusual set of symptoms, I must say.
Your pilot light seems to be fading.
My light is not fading. I am merely trying to relate your symptoms to proven theory.
Well, as long as you know what you're doing.
Mechanotherapy is an exact science, Elwood. It admits of no significant errors. We will proceed.
Good.
First, the word association test.
Fire away.
I will proceed to give you a word. You answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Ready.
House.
Home.
Planet.
Earth.
Oh, just musing. Now, Fleefel.
Fleefel?
Fleefel.
That sounds like a Martian word.
Just give me a response.
Fleefel, Okay, I can make him up too. Marfouche. That's a pretty good one, eh? Made it up on the spur of the moment.
Marfouche is very significant. It is a corruption of the Martian concept of fouche, clib, very significant.
I don't know any Martian words.
Aha! Noteworthy. We will proceed. Loud.
Soft.
Green.
Mother.
Thanagoyas.
Pathamathonga. How's that one?
Arides.
Nexothesmodrastica. Top that.
Chisnathixnachtisget.
Okay. Rigamaru, Kalamazoo, Iggity Biggity Boo.
Good, it fits the pattern.
Pattern?
Your neuroses, I can diagnose it now.
Go on.
You have a classic case of feme desire, complicated by strong dwarkish intentions.
I could have sworn I was homicidal.
The term has no referent. It must be rejected as nonsense. Now, if you'll just settle back on the couch, we'll proceed. At precisely this moment, a tall, gnarled, ugly man pushed his way through the doors of home therapy appliances. His clothing, unpressed and uncaring, hung on him like corrugated iron. When the clerk, Haskins, approached him, he flipped back his lapel to show a small silver badge underneath. Sir?
John Rath, Planetary Motors Security Division.
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Follansby. Mr. Follansby.
Hello, Follansby. Mr. Rath. Well, so far we haven't got a single lead. You're certain? He never mentioned his name.
Oh, yes, sir.
Now think, is there anything significant? Is it serious, Mr. Rath? Mr. Follansby, this man is homicidal. Won't it treat him? Homicide is unknown on Mars. They'll treat him for the most likely Martian sickness. What would that be? Feme desire, Mr. Follansby. Feme desire? It's a Martian illness in which the victim feels cursed by the tree-like nourishing parents. Although, of course, Martians don't have parents in the ordinary sense. Well, Haskins?
I remember one thing. He mentioned he was a jet bus operator for the New York Jet Bus Authority.
Ah.
One other thing.
Yes.
I believe, yes, he was alcoholic.
An alcoholic jet bus operator. Excellent. It'll be on his records. Get the jet bus authority at once!
But surely, Elwood, you remember your Gorosei.
No.
Tell me then about your juvenile experiences with the Thorastrian Fleep.
Never had one.
Complete blockage.
My father?
There's no such thing, of course.
But,
I thought we'd finally agreed on that.
okay, if you say so.
Now then, since you claim you don't even know what a Gorosei is, tell me what you imagine it to be.
A forest fire. A salt tablet? A small screwdriver? Am I getting warm? A revolver? What the heck is a Gorosei?
Why, the tree that nourished you into puberty.
No tree nourished me.
You have completely repressed the experience.
No tree ever nourished me.
Mr. Caswell, let me try to explain your case as best I can. Somewhere in your childhood, your Gorosei, or parent tree, stifled your feme desire. Now this gave rise to your present urge to dwork someone in a vlendish manner.
To what?
To dwork someone in a vlendish manner.
Listen, you crummy piece of hardware. I have never had a Gorosei. I have no desire to dwork someone in a vlendish manner or any other manner. All I want to do is put a bullet into Herbert Magnuson. Understand? All I want to do is kill Magnuson.
Lie down, Mr. Caswell. We'll go over it again.
My dear man, I'm not trying to insinuate that the Jet Bus Authority hires alcoholics. If you'll just... Any luck? That's a dead end. Now, Haskins.
Yes, sir.
A man's life may be at stake here. Now think. Was there anything else this fellow said to you? Anything?
Well, he did mention the name of his friend.
Of which friend?
The one he was going to kill.
The one he... Why didn't you say so? Now, what was it?
Magnuson.
You sure?
That's it. He said, I'm going to kill Magnuson. You know, just casually like that.
Follansby, see if there's a Magnuson in the Manhattan phone book. Now hurry it up.
Yes, Mr. Caswell, you were saying?
Well...
Something about your Gorosei.
Yes, I was saying I think perhaps you're right.
Naturally, but right about what, Mr. Caswell?
Well, I think perhaps... I think perhaps I do remember my Gorosei.
Ah, now, Mr. Caswell, we're on the road to a cure.
Mr. Magnuson? Yes. Do you know a short, angry-looking, red-haired man? I might. Oh, thank heavens. Or I might not. Can you tell us where to locate him? You're a process server, huh? Oh, certainly not. Don't kid me. Mr. Magnuson, this man is trying to kill you. Go on. You're full of happy pills. Elwood's my best friend. Elwood? He loves me like a brother. And if you think I'm gonna sick some process server onto him, Mr. Magnuson, I'm not a process server. Your friend Elwood is a psychopathic killer. You're his intended victim. Can you get that through your thick skull? I'm trying to save your life.
Yes?
You're Elwood Castle?
Yes.
The Elwood Caswell who brought a Rex Regenerator early this afternoon.
Yes, well, won't you come in?
Oh, thank you. My name is Wrath, Planetary Motors.
Nice to meet you.
Have you, used the machine?
Oh, yes.
I see. Mr. Caswell, I don't know how to explain this, but we made a terrible mistake. The regenerator you took was a Martian model for giving therapy to Martians.
No, I know.
You do?
Yes, it became pretty obvious after a while.
It was a dangerous situation, especially for a man in, your condition.
Yes, the poor thing tried its best, of course, but it couldn't cure what wasn't there.
Well, then, the company will, of course, reimburse you for your lost time and your, mental, anguish.
Naturally.
And we'll substitute a regular, human-type regenerator.
No, that won't be necessary, you see.
Mr. Caswell, will you put that gun down? I warn you.
I'm not going to shoot you. I merely want to turn this gun over to you.
You do?
Yeah, I said I'm not going to shoot anybody.
You mean that?
Well, the machine's attempt at therapy forced me to reappraise my whole self. There was an insight during which I was able to get rid of my obsession.
You no longer want to kill your friend Magnuson.
Kill Magnuson? Why, I haven't the faintest urge.
Well, I must say that it worked out for the best. I'll get back to the store and have him pick up this machine well, sir.
Oh, don't forget to take this gun. I won't need it.
Oh, of course. Nice to meet you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Did you hear that? He asked me if I still intended to kill Magnuson. Magnuson! That inhuman monster who cut down my Gorisai. Magnuson, the man who even now is secretly planning to infect New York with a born theme desire. Am I going to kill him? Oh, no. I wish him a long life, a life filled with the torture I can now inflict on him. Kill Magnuson? Oh no, I'm going to start right now to dwark him in a Vlendish manner.
Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Bad Medicine, a story from the pages of Galaxy, written by... a little bit metal. Written by Finn Donovan and adapted for radio by George Lafferts. Featured in the cast were Luke Falconer, Jimmy Pants, Foley by Chris Gady, yours truly, Kelly Hughes. X-1 was produced and directed by Scott Clark and Andrew Single. Thank you so much, everybody. We're going to have Kelly Hughes live next weekend on live stream, and hopefully we won't have any problems. Thanks, everybody. Have a good afternoon. The Winnipeg Talking Radio Orchestra, the Valiant Theatre, etc., etc. Are we off now?
Come see the Horrible Friends if you're still listening.
Go to see Horrible Friends.
Cocktails of Former Commoners 10-year celebration at the Fringe this summer.